And joining me this morning is, if I pressed all the buttons right and made things, if I pressed all the buttons right and made things work, joining me this morning is Lisa Peterson from the U of I Extension. Lisa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh my gosh, I made it. We were all set. This portion of our morning show brought to you by People's Bank and Trust at our live stream. And Lisa, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to us today. How are you today?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You know, we got to get through this together. That's what counts. So we're having a blast, and obviously, with the U of I extension, you guys stay relatively busy. I know you've got a ton of stuff that you guys have done, and there's a ton of stuff that you guys are going to be doing here in the near future. I understand that you guys have had some events that just actually took place.
Yes, we are thrilled. We've been had a great partnership with the Taylorville Memorial Hospital these last couple months, and we'll continue to do these. And Tuesday, we actually did a class called Cooking for One or Two, which was great. It had about 20 people in it, and it really talked about how to kind of bring down those meals for less people, as well as knowing that almost 30% of people now live alone. So this was a great opportunity to really get a lot of our community members together, talk about how do we kind of eat a little bit less as well as eating healthier. And then we did make about 4 different recipes, which was really fun. I had the group actually try out something called jicama, which is a little bit more unique. We can find it at the grocery store, but they made a jicama fruit salad. They made a turkey and butternut squash skillet, elodie bowls, and then summer squash and tomato stir fry. So we did get to do a little bit of cooking and a little bit of taste testing, as well as understanding how to be able to cook for one or two, but still keep it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes, when you look at this stuff and you see somebody living alone, the tendency is to go ahead and just, oh, you know what, I'll just go and eat out and get some quick food and come back. But eating healthy can go a really long ways towards being healthier and keeping your weight down and just taking better care of yourself.
Yeah, and we really did address some of those challenges, such as purchasing in small quantities, storing food. I think that's a big one for a lot of people, not just for one or two people, but for most Americans. It's hard to know how long to keep something, as well as how to make sure those fruits and vegetables last for a longer period of time.
Those are good lessons, regardless of if you're living alone or if you have a house full of people and kids. So I think those are all good, healthy lessons to learn and to kind of take home with you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was a really fun class. Yep.
And that's what's, and you said it right there. It's a fun class, and I think goes a long way towards you learning as well, right? Is if you can make something fun and enjoyable, it becomes that much more easy to retain that information.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the idea. It's not just getting the information, but being able to get the community members together to talk about it and things that work for them, as well as things that don't work for them. And I even encourage that if you do have a recipe that you love that makes a recipe for 6 and you don't want to have to cut it down, bring in some of our classmates and kind of do a meal trade that way.
All right, Lisa. Well, what are some other stuff that you guys have going on? I know we talk about some events that you guys have had. Or any other events that you've had that just took place, or anything that's coming up?
One of the ones coming up, specifically with the hospital, we've been having great turnout for those classes. We'll be doing one August 1st. People, we don't have registration up yet, but if they want to save the date, August 1st, it'll be from 5 to 7. It'll be at Taylorville Memorial Hospital again, and it's going to be talking about using a slow cooker and preparing freezer meals. And in that class, it will be hands-on, like we've done with the other ones, where we'll actually get to prepare some freezer meals. We have some really cool little stands that I use in those classes where that can help when filling your bags up. So we are going to make some freezer meals, and again, that'll be August 1st, but it's using a slow cooker and prepping these freezer meals, 5 to 7 p.m. And we'll get registration up soon, and that'll be through the extension office. And you can always call the extension office, too. We can write your name down.
Yeah, and just different ways. I know my wife likes using that slow cooker. She'll set something up at like 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and then it'll be ready by 5 p.m., and she's all good to go, and she's got a house full of kids that are all taken care of because it was an easy meal to making a slow cooker. So I think it's
Right.
gone a long way towards being able to help some families that are going 100 miles an hour.
Yes, and that's the idea. We're doing it in early August, hopefully to prepare you for the school year. So get you some recipes so you're set to go.
That's right. You get home from school, you have a snack, you do your homework, and then let's eat dinner. So works out.
Yeah.
All right, so we got that event, the slow cooker event coming up, and always, and we'll mention this several times, but the U of I website you can go to and do all that and look at all these classes and get all the information on there.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. If you visit our website, that's an easy way to find us. And of course, you can always go to our office. We are open 8 to 4 p.m. With an hour lunch there. But you can always walk in and ask questions as well. We're there to help, as well as just calling the office in Taylorville. And that Christian County Extension office number is 287-7248.
All right, and that's a big deal. You can go and see some of the great stuff that is going on, and get registered and do all that stuff as well. All right, Lisa, what other stuff you guys have coming up here in just a little bit?
Yeah, we're thrilled about it. We actually, National Herb Week is coming up, which is something a very strange one to celebrate, but that's the week of May 7th, and we're actually going to tag on to that and kind of the tail end, but on May 16th, we're partnering with the Pain and Wellness Center as well as the Moequa Public Library, and I'll be there giving out recipes and information about using and storing herbs. So it'll be from 9 to noon. It's very casual, just kind of a walk-in event, and I'll have some activities going on with herbs and recipes, of course, and maybe a little bit of taste testing.
And I tell you what, I don't necessarily, and you said it already, but Herb Week, like I don't necessarily think of like celebrating herbs, but obviously enough people got together to want this to be a thing, and it's made it happen. But herbs, really?
Yeah, yep. And a lot of times when we talk about herbs, it's more, I really focus on, because I work a lot in the health nutrition side of it, but focusing on finding ways to cut out sodium or cut down on sodium. And herbs are an excellent replacement because, again, you're adding other flavors in there where you're not going to miss that salt. And that is a very difficult thing to do, cut down. So we really break down different herbs that go with different foods and how to add that flavor without missing that salt.
All right. And yeah, so that will be next week. And boy, I was trying to think of what some types of herbs would be while I was listening to you. And I was trying to think of like what some different types are that fall into that category, because you think about herbs and spices, and do you know what separates the two of them, or are they kind of the same family?
No, yeah, there's definitely differences between them. So an herb is usually leaves from a plant that are grown in a temperate zone, while a spice usually comes from the roots, the bark, the buds, the berries of the fruit, and usually pretty aromatic as well. And a lot of times when we talk about the differences too, spices, you typically are more the sweeter, not always, but a lot of times spices are sweeter, and our herbs, again, are leaves from plants. But then seeds are also a little different as well. So they're all kind of in a different realm.
Very cool. See, I'm learning new things today. We're having a lot of fun. I'm learning all kinds of new stuff and making this work. All right, Lisa, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have much more with Lisa Peterson, nutrition and wellness educator with the Extension, U of I Extension office. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have much more as we continue to talk to Lisa about some of the great stuff that's going on here over at the U of I. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
WTIM.
All right, we are clear.
Okay, and I realized I gave you the fax number. It's actually 7246. Looking at the Christian County phone, I'm like, oopsie. Anyone who calls us should know our number.
We'll get it taken care of. But
whoopsie. Let's see.
No worries. We got it working. So, but my goodness. It's
Let's see.
KFC, man. We're learning about all kinds of herbs and spices. It's fantastic.
And I'm like, I'm looking at some of my information from that class. I'm like, I can do a little bit of myth busting around herbs too, or we can talk about the amounts you should be using. What else here? how to use them, how to take them off the stem, how to store them.
Yeah.
That I can break it down a little bit further here. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I thought we were going to have a shorter show today, but I don't think so. I think we'll have a regular length one.
Oh. I know, I was waiting for you to cut me off. I'm like, okay.
No, Leroy just kept going. But yeah, so we'll have about 6 minutes left in our show when we come back.
Okay.
So. We're making it work. Slowly but surely. Oh my goodness. I tell you what.
Oh. Okay.
I'll be happy when we have a full staff and they're all trained again.
That's how I feel half the time with our office. That's like, you can call the office. I don't know who's going to answer.
All right, we got about 45 seconds left before we got to go back on and entertain the masses.
Oh, I know. I'm surprised. People tell me, they're like, "Oh yeah, I heard you on the radio." I'm like, "Well,
you did? Really?"
Well, I was surprised.
I didn't think people listened. I appreciate that.
I hear that.
All right, here we go. 15 seconds. Five, 4, 3. WTIM. All right, welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show. Leroy Klamola here with you, hanging out, and provided again that I've pressed all the right buttons. Lisa Peterson joining us from the University of Illinois Extension Office. She is the nutrition and wellness educator, and she's been teaching me all kinds of great stuff about how to lose weight and how to look good. No, I'm just kidding. But we are learning all kinds of great stuff about how to, about next week being Herbs Week. We're celebrating parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, and all kinds of other great stuff. Isn't that right, Lisa? Yes,
absolutely. We're here to motivate you.
Yes, I'm always about all the motivations. That's what makes things work. You know, it's fantastic, and it's great to be able to talk to you. So talking a little bit about these herbs and stuff, is there a point where you could add too much? Is there sometimes, like, I think, you know, you see all that stuff in my pantry and I don't know what to use with what?
Yeah, and that's one of our big myths we kind of bust when we talk about using herbs, is saying, is there a strict rule on how much I can use? And there is absolutely not. I always tell people, start with less and add as you go, because it's a lot harder to take it away after it's in there. So starting with small amounts, generally we'll tell somebody if they're using a dried herb, those are about 3 times as powerful as the fresh. So if you're using a dried herb, you want to do like 1/4 of a teaspoon per pound of meat. That's at least a way to start with it. But you can experiment. You can also try mixing the fresh with the dried, especially as we get into spring and more people are getting those herbs at the farmer's market and having them in their windows. But remember, that's 3 times as powerful that dried stuff is. So usually you're more successful substituting the fresh for the dried than the dried for the fresh because of the strength of those herbs.
Yeah, and you know, with that, obviously, it's all about common sense and making sure that you, again, are planning as you go. I think goes a long way as well.
Yes, absolutely. And when to add them too. That's often a question we get asked is, when should I add the herbs? Do I add them at the beginning? Do I add them at the end? And that's something really to think about depending on what kind of herb you're using, which just makes it more complicated. But usually you want to add the fresh herbs toward the end of cooking, mainly because those fresh herbs are going to break down a little bit faster. So those ones, like the delicate herbs, you usually want to add them about 1 to 2 minutes before you're done cooking, and that would be things like basil, cilantro, and parsley. And using every time you cut up an herb, which we encourage you to do, use your knife to cut it up really sharp. The more you cut it up, the more fragrance you're going to get out of it. So that's something to think about is when you're chopping them up, is to make sure you're chopping them really finely because you'll get a lot of flavor. Your less delicate herbs, like the hardier ones, like oregano and rosemary and thyme, usually you can add those like near the last 20 minutes of cooking because again, they're not going to break down as fast and you'll still get a lot of flavor.
Yeah, and being able to do that, and that's the whole point of doing it, right? Is to enhance those flavors and to be able to make your taste buds pop, as the expression goes. But be able to have that extra boost, but also to help maybe limit the amount of salt and another maybe not as good things that you could add to sweeten up your meal.
Yeah, and that's always a great point too when we talk about the nutrition behind herbs. We use such little of them that they don't have a lot of great nutritional, or they don't have, shouldn't say great, you don't get a lot of nutritional value out of them. A lot of times they're used more for substitution. So again, that's an easy way to cut down on salt and sugar. And salt, a lot of people don't know, is an acquired taste. So you're not born with that taste of salt. You get it over time, and you can actually teach your tongue to not notice it as much. So you might go out to eat with a family member and they say, wow, this broccoli is really salty, and you don't notice because you're so adjusted to that salt. And that's something with people with high blood pressure or high sodium. That's one thing your doctor will recommend is cutting down on that sodium, but doing it very slowly so your tongue adjusts. And that way you do start noticing foods that maybe weren't tasting salty to you in the past, but actually are very, very high in sodium.
I have learned an absolute ton this morning. Thank you, Lisa. This has been fantastic. But really, really cool stuff. Again, next week, National Herbs Week. Herb Week? Herb Week.
British is herb.
But yeah, that's National Week next week, and you guys are doing a lot of stuff for that. And just one more time, touch on what you guys have going on.
Yeah, so like I said, we just did that class last week or this on Tuesday on cooking for one or two. So the slow cooker and freezer meal class will be August 1st at the hospital. And then the next one we actually have coming up will be May 16th, which is a lot sooner, which will be at Mawikla Public Library as in partnership with Pain and Wellness Center. It's called the Mawikla Health and Wellness Fair. You can find on their social media as well. But I'll be there talking about buying, storing, preparing, and cooking with herbs. No registration. Just come and walk in. It'll be a nice casual environment. And I'll have recipes and give you some information about what goes with what herbs go with what foods.
All right, we got 30 seconds left. You want to hit the website one more time and where people can go to get more information?
Yeah, yep. So you can definitely head over to our extension website. If you have direct questions for me, I would definitely suggest emailing because I work in 4 counties, and that is LAP5981 at Illinois spelled out.edu.
All right, sounds good. Lisa Peterson from the University of Illinois Extension Office. She is the nutrition and wellness educator. If I can get all my words out, that'd be fantastic. But Lisa, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to us today about some of the great stuff that's going on that you guys are staying busy with. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back, we'll have much more on the WTIM morning show right here on WTIM, your information station. More great morning show coming up right after this.
Your information station, WTIM. WTIM.
News time right now is 9:29. They always hang up.